Respect, peace out. John Woods for Woodsman, posting of course from the Heinrich von Woodsman account. I got another community guideline strike, so I'm going to have to be careful with that account. I'm going to have to, one of the ones I got, I may appeal, or I may just leave it a few weeks so it becomes spent, so if I get another one I don't lose the channel. But it was annoying, and it really hit a nerve because some of us may know have had addiction issues, and I don't really like to talk about them, truth be told. It's part of my life that would rather have never happened, and I'd like to move on from. But there seems to be some market out there for people talking about their problems. Hang on a second, sweetheart, I'm just making a video. Can you just hang on a second? Let me make this video. Bear with us a second. I don't want to go back over this again. So, yeah, there's a market out there, and I attend these meetings, and the starting speech, I don't know if it's how it works or one of them. They basically say it works on a process of attraction rather than promotion. But 12-step theology dominates the recovery online field. And if you don't toe the line with those people and say and paraphrase exactly what you want them to say, they cast you out. They'll steal from you. They'll lie about you, they'll vilify you, and while at the same time getting away with far more heinous stuff themselves. And it doesn't even, people point to the fact that I haven't had much success with the sobriety side of things. And yeah, that is true, even though I've got over 2 months now. But by the same token, by the same Jimmy tokens, let me just get my train of thoughts. I just got out of bed. I was capitulating into a depression and decided to take an ice bath and get out of bed. But the same, so anyway, let me just go back on myself. I'm sorry if this is a bit muffled, but I enjoy the Johnny Woodsman channel. It's not a great financial money maker for me, but I actually started to enjoy the community. And the person in question who struck me, of course, he's in the recovery community. It's obvious in his language. And I was watching his subscriber count going up by 1,000 a day, 1,000 every couple of days. So he toes the line, he propagates medications, and he makes fucking awful content. I mean, it's shite. And when you start judging yourself by your subscriber count as a middle-aged man, it's like judging yourself by how many friends you've got on Facebook. But the fact is, he's a big player on Instagram and on TikTok, and he has a teenage following. And there was some messages that were, it could be nonsense, it could be some kind of trap, of course, but he was apparently found messaging inappropriately young adolescents. Now, if he was 18, 19, even 23, 24, and he was talking to 15, 16-year-old girls, I'd say, oh, it's a bit dodgy, but it's all right. But he's my age. You shouldn't be talking to teenage girls. You shouldn't even be posting. But somewhere, he's obviously towing the line and making money for people. I imagine he's tied to a whole range of rehabilitation centres. So, he will do very well. He's got hundreds of thousands on TikTok. He's a fucking idiot. And he's a fraud. He's a big-time fraud. He's not, I would not, if you want to take those medications, take them. But don't then, propagate that you're doing anything other than chasing the dollar with the correct rhetoric and yeah, chasing the dollar, obsessing over YouTube, and taking drugs to make money, which I understand. And you can make it easy for yourself by saying the right things, by tagging the right people, by not going against the grain, by going with the flow. But it will also just, and you will probably get some limited success if you do that. But at the same time, it's not true. It's a facade. It's damaging what he does. To say that he's in any kind of recovery, or he's recovering in any way from what he describes as he may be on some kind of damage limitation program. And I understand that without his Adderall, he finds making YouTube videos incredibly difficult. I've taken ADHD meds myself. I've got a diagnosis for ADHD, and take those things, but don't as a 43, don't pretend you're doing it for any reason of spiritual recovery. You're doing it for money. You're doing it because it helps you, gives you a bit, G's you up a bit, so you can make an incessant amount of garbage, fucking damaging, fucking wank material. Utter shite. Imagine going into a bar and talking like you're talking on your fucking YouTube channel. And do you know how many people I could have struck? Do you know how many people I could have struck for bullying and harassment? If anyone follows that dark side of YouTube, I could have struck the Northern King, Karma Corner, Opinionated Glaswegian, Cesspit, Exposure TV, Motorsports Buggies, Humble Dryer, Andragone, Paul Ellis, all of which have got relatively wank content, but they're medium level sort of channels. They're bigger than me. And, I didn't strike any of them. I accepted it. But this fucking 12-step fucking tosspot couldn't take it. He couldn't take that I'd shared his material and said that he was a bona fide bacon. When he probably, with the evidence in question, he probably is. It's like he's got, like, let's assume he's taken a few too many of his Adderall that day and it's made him a little bit horny. Let's assume that. I don't know, but let's make that assumption. Right? And then he's gone online. Why would he, with the money he's rolling in off fucking TikTok, off Instagram, he must be making thousands for his shite, for his propagating fucking medications and falsehoods and telling people to take this and take that. He looks like a walking heart attack. Frail and weak this person in question who I'm going to tag looks. He looks abysmal. He looks weak physically. And sorry, I'm a bit wound up. I had to get this off my chest. And it's not the first time I've had these. I've been attraction rather than promotion, yet it goes down in their readings, and apart from our treatment, well, where do they stick that in? Our treatment centres. You mean 12-step treatment centres? I used to go to these places, and it always pissed me off because those people seem to get it easier than me, and I'm not pleading poverty or saying I've never had any help, nothing like that. Plenty. But they seem to be able to network amongst themselves using the 12-step brand and make plenty of money just by saying the right things and creating a group amongst themselves. Now, because I went against the grain, I was never accepted into their groups, really. And as time went by, there were other people who would go back to the groups who were, as they say, chronic relapsers. But they they would toe the line. They would be able to continually buddy up. But when a pattern of relapse had been established, right, it became obvious to me that it wasn't working. That it probably wasn't at times making it worse. And yeah, it was making it worse because it was putting my, I had the shame and embarrassment of my fucking normal life to deal with. But then I had this fucking cacophony, is that a word? This section of the community that's quite large that also, I have to. I'm telling them about my life, and it's putting me out there, and it's making me more of a target, and it's making things harder for me. And my crimes against the fellowship were such things as sending people perhaps childish stuff, perhaps posting a dog's dick on somebody's fucking Facebook profile or something like that. And I left them all alone because there's lots of bum goes on when they hook up in their fucking fellas. They're like fucking rabbits. It's disgusting. And in the land of plenty, where there's plenty of working girls you could go with, you'd think some of them would have the dignity to take it outside the fellow shite. I remember going into a meeting one day, and I didn't touch them. I was younger, and it was very, very possible. They took to me, and they would approach me. It was like flies around shit. It was embarrassing. But I ignored them because I didn't want to be seen as a predator amongst a place where people were trying to get well. But I would joke with them and make fun of them a little bit. And I remember once asking this girl if she enjoyed anal sex. Now that's a bit of a strange thing to say but I didn't. I was joking, and she was being very open because that's the way they talk, those sorts of women. And she was like, yeah, I enjoy every type of sex. I said, well, who was the last person you had sex with? And of course it was her boyfriend who was sitting just opposite, who she'd met in the rehab. She'd had anal sex with somebody in the fellowship within a few weeks of of joining the fellowship. It was just ridiculous. It was just ridiculous for double standards. But there was a clique of people who would, regardless of their behaviour in and out of the fellowship, would click together, and they would create rehabs, they would create all these money-making ventures. And whenever I tried to suggest something, I'd be quickly put down and accused of manipulation. You can't do that. But I had an idea once, so I put it to the group. Now, this is just after I'd had one sponsor. I hate telling this fucking story, but this fucking sponsor, it was the first time I'd had a noticeable amount of money in my pocket for me and my wife for about 8 years. And something happened and I got some money. So I decided to go to this rehab. Of course, I went to this rehab, and there were no counsellors there. There was no one there but me and this fucking fat Wally, who broke a number. He was on his website. He was asking for gifts in the will. He'd assaulted somebody in his treatment centre. Then rang their elderly father to demand, after he kicked him out and driven him to the fucking airport. He then kicked him out and rang their elderly father to demand payment, which of course he got. He paid more than me. It was thousands of pounds. And so he broke the law. He took patients who were supposed to be receiving stellar care to the government hospital. There was no fallout for that. And after that, I got another sponsor, right? And he was also trying to make a rehab. So he said, in 2017, I had some degree of computer literacy, but I've since lost. And forgotten. So I did he said, do this for me, do that for me. And this went on for 3 months. I had a 3-month spell of sobriety. And he reiterated every day how I would get paid. And then after I went on a relapse. And when I achieved 17 days of sobriety, and I rang him and I said, do you think there's a chance of any money for all that work I did for you? And he said, no, if you died, from the relapse, then I couldn't live with myself. So he didn't give me anything. So I've just been stolen from and worked for free by 2 sponsors in a row in a short period of time. Give us a break here, sweetheart. And during the time I was trying to sell this rehab in Bangkok, I got kind of threatening calls of other members of the fella shite saying, what's this rehab, John? You'd better be a bit careful, especially with people round there. 12-step mafia. Fuck off, suck my dick. If you're in the real mafia, I take that back. But the 12-step mafia can fuck off. Now, I wanted to get this. I know people aren't going to listen, probably no one will listen to the duration of this. But it really hit a nerve, this getting a community guideline strike off this fucking scumbag. Suspected bacon snitch who's making thousands of pounds, and I never get fucking any luck or any fucking gratitude or for anything I do. I'm sick of being undervalued, and I'm sick of giving my time for free, and fuck off!